Be the change you want to see in the world.
Welcome to Agency for Change, a podcast from KidGlov that brings you the stories of change makers who are actively working to improve our communities. In every episode, we'll meet with people who are making a lasting impact in the places we call home.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Agency for Change podcast. This is Lynn Weinman, President and Chief Strategist of KidGlov. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Danielle Smith. She is the Executive Director of St. Monica's. This is a Lincoln, Nebraska-based nonprofit that is providing life-changing recovery for women. I love talking with Danielle. She's going to share her philosophy for leadership, and she's going to talk about how she and her staff keep themselves positive while doing this really difficult work. She's going to talk about what it's like to receive services from St. Monica's and the importance of gender-specific trauma-informed care. You're going to love this conversation. Danielle, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, Danielle, I can't wait to talk to you. I know you have been in your role for just about a year now, and I know you've seen a lot of things, but let's start by talking about St. Monica's. St. Monica's provides life-changing recovery for women, and that statement says a lot in just 4 words, but could you tell us what it means to you?
Yeah, for sure. So at St. Monica's, we're a gender-specific women's treatment facility. We serve women and children. So we have several different inpatient setting treatment modalities. We have a short-term residential treatment program. We have a secondary program where women can live with their children and walk through our treatment program and learn things about themselves and learn about being a mom again. And then we also have a women's halfway house. And we really have tried to create a continuum of care so women can come through our short-term residential treatment program, go to our secondary programs if they need it, and then move on to our halfway house and even our transitional living house, where we can provide outpatient services for them and really wrap them with services and help them find what life-changing recovery means to them.
I love that, Danielle. And since you went right into it, can you share a little bit, what is the importance of being both gender specific and trauma informed?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think with the gender specific, it really gives a woman an opportunity to focus on women's needs in recovery. Trauma informed creates a safe environment where they can be vulnerable and feel safe. We have a lot of women come to us with a lot of different life experiences, and really wanting them to feel safe is an important thing for us at St. Monica's. But we really walk alongside of them, explore what vulnerability and safety looks like for them, and help them gain the tools that they need to be successful in recovery when they leave here. Sometimes women need to focus on women's issues. And so it really gives us an opportunity to be specific in what we are working on with them, and then let them get the opportunity to build a life for themselves with other women.
Yeah, Danielle, my understanding of the recovery process, as KidGlov has had the opportunity to work with several organizations in this space, is that it can be sometimes wrapped with guilt, with shame, with fear. And I've got to imagine that being both gender specific and trauma informed gives women that space to really open up, because that's got to be a really difficult thing to do.
Absolutely. And I think vulnerability is a huge piece, right? And so when we're creating safety and we want people to be able to process the guilt and shame that they've experienced due to life decisions, creating that safe space with women. And I think when we're looking at support too from other women that are walking through this process with us as we go through the program, it really gives an opportunity for a woman to feel safe. I think safety is such an important piece of trauma-informed care, where we really focus on the individual themselves, but also give them a support network of other women that are wanting to achieve very similar things in their life.
I didn't think about that at all as I was preparing to talk to you, but that's got to be an important part of this going on the journey with other women. I mean, that's got to add to the whole experience, the whole healing experience as well. And I know that you plan for that quite a lot as you prepare your care.
Yeah, I think it's very impactful, right? We talk to women that have been successful in our program that are still, walking alongside other women that went through the program and they're living life together and they're, finding what they love outside of our facility and doing it together so that they really can build a bond here
Yeah.
that is trusting, is that's in safe, and then also just giving them an opportunity to build natural supports for themselves too when they leave.
Danielle, you also, in your very first statement, you talked about serving women and children. And that also struck me. And even though I know that's part of your services, I mean, a lot of the women in your care are also mothers. And how does the work, the process shift when there are children involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we work with both the mother and the children. So we really, walk alongside of a woman and teach them what it looks like to be a healthy parent,
Yeah.
what it looks like to take our kids to daycare or to school every day, and then go to work and focus on their substance use treatment and kind of juggle all the things that life hands us
Yeah.
sometimes as a parent. And having the support that they have with our child case manager and our child peer support specialist to kind of walk along that path with them, go to dinner with them and show them, what's healthy for their child to eat.
Yeah.
When is bath time? When should we read a book to our child before we put them to bed? And really just help build that structure around what it looks like to be a parent in a healthy way. And so awesome to see women having children within our facility. So we
Yeah.
have moms that get to have their kids while they're here.
Mm.
And also we get to watch women be reunited with their children that they might not have had, custody of them for a really long time. So
Wow.
program is really special. There's only a few in the state of Nebraska, and I'm really proud of the work that they do, not only just for the woman, but the child as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, it breaks generational trauma and
Mm.
experience as well when we get to rebuild families together.
A lot of our listeners, Danielle, know that in the recent years, I've become a grandmother. And I mean, I love being a grandmother, and it's so special to spend that time with my two grandsons. But it's also reminded me how overwhelming parenthood is, right? And I think you kind of block that out after a certain point. But, I mean, I feel like even individuals with the best of resources who are all prepared, parenthood could be overwhelming. So I can't imagine what it would be like having a substance use situation and going through recovery. And I agree. I think it's really special that you're able to offer these services to women and to think about the generational trauma, because as we learn more and more about that, there is really something big there, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's generational addiction, it's generational trauma. And I think also, like, if we can stop that at a point and teach a woman how to be different in life, it
Yeah,
does impact children to come, right?
right.
And I also think that one important piece is that we have to take care of ourselves as moms, as,
Yes.
parents,
Yes.
before we can be good to take care of our children. And so we really try to, offer the women support around self-care and learning how to take care of myself and navigate what it looks like to be a parent, but also make sure that I make myself a priority in that as well. And
Yeah.
so something that's very special about that program.
Are you able, Danielle, to give us a glimpse into what does a woman's life look like in recovery at St. Monica's?
Yeah. So, we have several different programs, but I think, when they wake up in the morning, they get to cook breakfast together. They get to do their chores and get their bedroom cleaned up and make their bed. And then they go on to our programming. So we offer a lot of different therapeutic approaches to treatment as well as support, peer support programming as well. and then also learn how to get a job and fill out a resume and do some of those important pieces that is going to help them be successful when they leave. They go to meetings externally and internally so they can find what pathway to recovery works for them and really engage in that. And then also they have dinner together. So at 5 o'clock, they all cook dinner. Everybody gets a turn to cook dinner and they get to cook a healthy meal together and spend some time together. And then also, we have fun. We let families come in and visit the women. And if their children aren't living with them right now, we let the children come visit and we have board games and all the different outside activities where parents can either spend time with their children or their, significant other or mom or dad or sister, but we really try to wrap them with a lot of support during the day as it relates to their substance use challenges, and then also really teaching them how to reintegrate back into the community to find housing and employment as well so that they can be successful when they leave here.
All right. Well, it sounds like you have an element of fun and joy wrapped into what you do, which is probably not what people normally think of when they think of recovery, right? And we talked a little bit earlier about the stigma, and I'm curious in your work, like when that stigma comes up, the guilt, the shame, the fear, does that create a barrier to recovery for people?
Yeah, I think stigma in the community can be a real thing, right? I like to
Hmm.
share my lived experience a little bit here. And, years ago, I had the opportunity to go through St. Monica's programs and it saved my life. And
Wow, that's bold. I did not know that, Danielle. That's
yeah,
bold that you share that. And
yeah.
how inspirational too.
Yeah, and then I got the opportunity to serve on the board of directors and I got to serve for 7 years and St. Monica's wrapped me with the support that I needed and today I get to be the executive director and not only use my own lived experience but also my professional experience to really help women and support women on their recovery journey. And so stigma is definitely a thing that we experience in the community and I think that, as time is going on, we're starting to break down that stigma a little bit more. But I think the cool thing is that I get to say, hey, it's possible. Definitely
Yeah.
recovery is possible if you are willing to engage in the program and utilize the support that St. Monica's provides you, that you have the opportunity to be successful when you leave here as well.
Oh, Danielle, that's beautiful. I love that you shared that and that you have that experience. It gives you so much credibility. Not that you didn't have credibility before, but it just really adds to everything that you are doing at the program. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's just talk about the organization. I mean, I know that you are always striving, always innovating, always doing good work, but one of the things that I know you hold is an accreditation from the Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities, often called CARF. Like, talk to me about what that takes to get that accreditation and how important it is to the work that you do.
Yeah, so CARF is a strenuous process. They focus on wanting organizations and nonprofits to be the best that they can be
Mm,
when they're providing direct service. And so, we take a look at all of our policies and procedures, not only from an employee standpoint, but also from the services that we provide the women. We walk through that process. They come in and they look at everything and they really help our organization set standards for best practice. And
yeah.
look at the evidence-based practices that we're offering and making sure that our participants, client, the rights that they have as a participant are being followed as an organization. And I just think it's so important to walk that process to make sure that we're being and doing the best that we can for the people that we serve.
That's fantastic. Well, congratulations on getting that. And I know it's a lot of work to get that certification. And I think that's fantastic that you have it. Danielle, I've also heard you describe your own personal leadership style as passion for empowering individuals and strengthening communities. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I think that when we lean into someone's strengths and really figure out what works for them, they tend to thrive. And so I
Yeah.
think it's so important that when a woman walks through the door, that we meet them where they're at and say, we're here for you. And then we walk that process with them every step of the way, focusing on person-centered care. So really what they want out of this experience.
Yeah.
what strengths do you have that you might not have known that you had? And how do we develop those so that you can utilize those in your life after you leave St. Monica's? And I think that when we touch one person, we do touch the community in a way
Yeah.
that can build very strong community members. And so empowering people is super important to me. I feel like when we lean into that for people and we really ask them what they need or want, they tend to do better and there's better
Mhm.
outcomes for the individual. And so I just think that if we can change one person's life, we've changed a person in our community.
Absolutely. And then think of the impact of that, right? Like one woman, probably a mother, a daughter, a sister, maybe a partner, a wife, a neighbor, a friend. I mean, there is a whole community that orbits around each of those women. And I think that's fantastic. So here's a question I always have for people who are in human service work, particularly work. I mean, you've spoken of a lot of joy and empowerment and passion, but it's also hard work. And I always wonder, you know, how do you sustain yourself and your staff in this passion and positivity when you're also doing work that can be very difficult and straining at times?
Yeah, so I think for me, wellness is so important, right? And I
Yeah.
don't know that we talk about that enough when we're providing direct service. And so,
Hmm.
for my staff, we talk a lot about workplace wellness and what does that look like, and being able to share what that looks like with your other coworkers so that when maybe you're not doing or feeling the best, that we're there to support them and make sure that they have the resources they need as a staff
Yeah.
member. And then I think that bleeds down in the services you provide, right? I think burnout is a real thing. I think compassion fatigue is a real thing. And so making sure that there's time and space to have fun at work. And there's a time and space that we have to provide services to individuals, but then making sure that you're building a team and a culture within the organization that is supportive and that
Yes.
focuses on self-care and really creates a space for psychological safety also
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
employees so that that also really kind of bleeds down to the work that's being done in the facility.
That's fantastic. So, Danielle, I'd love to ask for other nonprofit leaders who are working in behavioral health or recovery services, what is the one thing you wish most organizations understood about building programs that work specifically for women?
I think collaboration is everything. And so I don't know that St. Monica's can provide everything for
Yeah.
every woman, right? And I think that with nonprofit work, we're all striving to better the community. And so
Yeah.
I think collaboration is so important. Partnering with other organizations that are doing great work is super important. And I think, when we're thinking about women really allowing the space
Yeah.
to be a woman and really focus on women's issues. We partner with a lot of different organizations that serve women as well. And so if we're not able, we can always reach out and say, hey, we have this woman and this is the need that they have. Can you support us
Oh,
in
I
that process?
love
But I
that.
think that when I think about the nonprofit world and the behavioral health world, collaboration is everything because I think that then women don't fall through the cracks and we can support
Yes.
to achieve whatever, life-changing recovery looks like for them.
Right. Right. I think it would be hard to know like what is available out there for me, but you could know and you can help direct people to the right place. I love that about the nonprofit world and the way that nonprofits come together. And you don't have to overlap all of your services when you can work together like that. Everybody can focus on what their specialty is. So that's fantastic. Well, you've given us so much great information. How can people find out more about St. Monica's? Where can they go if they want to learn about your services, if they want to donate? Because I imagine donations are always greatly appreciated. Where can they go?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website, so it's www.stmonicas.com. We have our programs. We also have an opportunity to get involved. We have a new donor program called Wings of Hope, and we
Oh,
plan to celebrate them on a yearly basis. And it's a way of being involved on a month-to-month basis, and you get newsletters and information about what's up and coming and what's new. But we're always looking for people that want to volunteer, that want to donate their time. And, most of the information that's up to date for us would be on our website.
That's fantastic. I love that idea of Wings of Hope too. And I am just going to share, Danielle, your logo at St. Monica's. KidGlov got to partner with the organization to create it. And I always tell people it's one of the favorite logos I've ever had a chance to work on. And so I love that you're building programs like Wings of Hope around the whole idea of that beautiful bird that's featured in your logo, because it was intended to do just what you're saying, to give women that sense of lift and freedom when they overcome addiction, and take that next step in their life towards recovery. So fantastic.
Yeah, we're so grateful for the logo, and it's beautiful and it's colorful and it's just vibrant. And we like to think about recovery in that manner too, right? It can be joyful and vibrant and hard and all the things.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. And we are just our new website. We just kind of refreshed our website. And so the colors matched perfectly. And we have a new kind of project coming up. We've been on the VA. And so we are renovating a second building on the VA and looking
beautiful.
We have a third one here in the future, but the colors of the bird and the bird have really stood out in that project. Like, how do we give women the wings that they need to be successful?
I love it. Congratulations on that expansion too. All right, Danielle, I'm going to ask you my favorite question next. I think we just discovered this is episode 292 of the Agency for Change. And on every single episode, we have asked this question, and it is, I would like an inspirational quote, a Danielle Smith original, to inspire our audience.
I think it would be the change you want to see in the world.
Oh, I love it. And tell me why that one's important to you.
Because I think we all play a part in community. We all play a part in our own self journey. And I think that when we end up taking care of ourselves and we show up in the world the way that we're supposed to, it really impacts the whole entire world or the whole community as a whole.
Danielle, I feel like you and I could have a whole second conversation on self-care, because I just think that's so important for recovery, for leaders, for community action, for taking care of your family. That whole concept of put your own oxygen mask on first, right? Yeah. I love that is a platform that you put forth. So I have loved this conversation so much, Danielle. I'm glad we had the chance to connect and get this on the podcast. As we wrap up this beautiful conversation, what is the most important thing you would like people to remember about the work that you're doing?
I think that substance use can affect anyone. And I think that if we can start talking about it more often and sharing it with our families and sharing it with our loved ones and really focus on not necessarily stigmatizing it, but really focusing on the recovery piece, that recovery is possible and life-changing recovery is possible, and that we really enjoy the women that we get to serve. And I'm just so grateful that we can impact the community and the people around us, and just be present with people and their time in need.
Danielle, that's fantastic. I have really enjoyed this conversation. I fully believe the world needs more people like you, more organizations like St. Monica's doing that good and important work. Thank you for taking time out to talk with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is wonderful.
We hope you enjoyed today's Agency for Change podcast. To hear all our interviews with those who are making a positive change in our communities, or to nominate a changemaker you'd love to hear from, visit KidGlov.com at KidGlov.com to get in touch. As always, if you like what you've heard today, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.